Hello, everyone. How's everyone today? We've got some lovely new pictures to look at. Hope everyone is having a great week. I took a break yesterday. Oh my goodness. Do you know what? The last podcast I did, I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it. And I'll tell you why I shouldn't have done it. I had a workout that morning, and let me tell you, I actually have not had an intense workout in years. I can't remember the last time I had an intense workout. That's how long it's been. I'm a very slim woman and I get very lazy with fitness. But being slender doesn't mean that you're healthy or fit. And so I decided, you know what, I need to get back on the fitness train. I went and had this it was like Booty and Abs Kitchen or something. And oh my God, first of all, the whole day I was knocked out. And now, even today, the whole of my lower body and my arms, y'all, I feel like I got beat up. So when I did my last podcast, let me tell you, I was literally I was literally doing that podcast through pain and fatigue. If at all it sounded like I was falling asleep or fluffing my words, that's the reason why. Even today, like I am so much in pain. I had like a deep tissue massage, but I feel like it's still like the workout was so hard. Even that hasn't helped a whole lot. I finally TV. You said Advil. I have finally taken some painkillers today, but oh my gosh! But that's why I didn't do a podcast yesterday, because I was just so like my whole body. I haven't felt anything like this for a while. But it just shows you, like, with age, like, you need to work out, especially when you get to your 30s, your bone density is dropping, hormones are changing. So this is my message to you. Please work out. Please be active in whatever way that you do it. But just make sure that when you do decide to get active, you don't do a full-on intense Booty and Abs Kitchen that makes you feel like you've been run over by a truck. That's Anne's advice for the day. But happy Thanksgiving to all my American folk. Hope you enjoyed your turkey, your chicken, your tuna steak, your vegan potato mash, whatever. Whatever you're having. Who's using some as ever in their cooking? Who's glazing their turkey with honey? Gobble gobble indeed. What are you all making? Please let me know. I find that, do you know that Thanksgiving, because American culture is so embedded in other cultures, do you know that there are people that celebrate Thanksgiving that aren't even American? I learned this recently. Like, you have American Thanksgiving themed parties and events for non-Americans who don't live in the US. So interesting. Potato mash. I mean, if you're not eating turkey, what are you eating? If you're not eating turkey, what are you eating? What's that thing that kind of tastes like beef that people have? Jackfruit. Jackfruit is a good alternative to meat, especially beef. It has a very beefy texture. Glazed turkey with apricot spread. Oh, it sounds like a good idea too. I'm making nothing. I'm a guest. You know what? I think that's the best way to go about it, Electra. That's the best way to enjoy Thanksgiving. Just roll up to someone's house. What you cooking? Yeah, Halloween. Exactly. I mean, the biggest American export. The biggest American export is Halloween. They celebrate Halloween everywhere now. Lady, you making sweet potato pie? Lovely. Crab. Oh, Thanksgiving crab. Thanksgiving goat meat. Turkey breast, parsnips, and yams. Electra, why are non-Americans celebrating that? That's a good question. I had that question too. Do you know what? Do you know what I think it is? I think it's for the aesthetic. I think it's for the Thanksgiving aesthetic. That's got to be what it is. Just because, let's just have like a turkey dinner and make it look fancy. Just because. I mean, why do we celebrate Halloween? Because it's fun and aesthetic. Oh, as ever, Rose. Yes, with your as ever, Rose. Okay, thank you for sharing what you're having for Halloween. Oh, cider brine turkey. Yes. Beer brine chicken is also really good. And they had that in the in one of the With Love Megans. Well, I hope that you're enjoying whatever it is that you're cooking up. I sincerely hope that you're enjoying it with your families. And the Sussex family, I'm sure, are having a great Thanksgiving as well. Here we have a message from Meghan. This was emailed this morning, and she was dry brining her roast up. She said, "From my family to yours, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm so thankful for your support and warmth as we've grown as ever throughout the year and the way in which you've invited this collection to be a part of your home. Being able to play a small role in your memories, family moments, special celebrations, and daily routines is not lost on me. From the jam you layer onto morning toast or slather onto PB&J for your kids' lunch boxes, the honey you stir into your tea, the candle you light to welcome the day, or to close it out with a cozy bath, a bottle of bubbles you pop to celebrate, or the wine you sip as you toast your loved ones you've invited us in. I am privileged that as ever gets a seat at the table with you and the ones you love. Please know that as I look around my home and see my husband and children, family, dear friends who also navigate the timing on the turkey and the love and layers that come with hostessing, I feel very grateful for this adventure of life, for the love and support, and for you. Wishing you a happy Thanksgiving with full hearts and full bellies. Thank you for supporting as ever. It really does mean the world to me. As ever, Meghan. And she posted this on her Insta, her getting the turkey ready. Gobble, gobble. Also, I think there is still the 20% off offer happening. So go and check that out. Get your 20% off, especially if you're doing forward shipping. That will take a bit of the money off. Also, to celebrate and to give back during Halloween. Oh, sorry, not Halloween. What am I saying? Halloween. During Thanksgiving, Archwell were out and about doing good. Let me just grab the article. Honoring the Thanksgiving season. Hang on a sec. Here we go. And yes, Lily was there. I'll get to that in a sec. So, honoring the Thanksgiving season, this is from the Archwell Foundation. As the season of giving begins, Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan, alongside the Archwell team, joined our Big Kitchen Los Angeles to prepare and package meals for community members experiencing food insecurity. Our Big Kitchen Los Angeles is a community-run non-profit kitchen that brings people together to prepare and distribute fresh, high-quality meals for those in Los Angeles facing hardship. The meals prepared will reach local schools, shelters, senior centers, and other community organizations serving our neighborhoods. Each year, the organization provides more than 70,000 nourishing meals while fostering a sense of care, connection, and belonging. Meals produced during our seasons are distributed to community-based organizations, including Los Angeles Mercy Housing, Pico United Project, and PATH. The Archwell Foundation remains committed to putting compassion in action, serving and uplifting communities locally and globally as we head into the holiday season. We celebrate those working every day to ensure that no one is left behind and where the needs of our neighbors are met. Amazing. And, Doria, encourage the spirit of giving back, community involvement in Meghan, and she's carrying that on to her kids. Here you can see. Giving them a sense of normality in what's rather abnormal circumstances that they've been born into. But regardless of what's going on around them, the institution, the tabloids, and all that nonsense, still trying to give these kids a sense of normality, so they can grow up and be grounded, so they can grow up and understand what it means to be a real human being with a real heart, and not the trauma and the cult-like thinking of the institution. How tall is Lily? And her long red hair. The little dress that she's wearing is from a company called Hope and Henry. Not at all surprised that Meghan would choose the most adorable dress from a shop called Hope and Henry. Adorable. But again, just great to see the kids happy and healthy, but in a way that still respects their privacy, you know? I know that we laugh and kiki and, you know, try to make light of the crazy and insane way that the British tabloids especially behave. I mean, you got people like Jan Moore getting on a plane, going all the way to Los Angeles. I'm sure she'll be right back there because, as ever, is now being stocked in another store. But I know that we try to laugh and kiki about it and try not to take it too seriously. But it's actually dead serious. It's dead serious. The way in which these tabloids and derangers behave. And so it doesn't surprise me that the Sussexes, you know, want to protect their children's identities. Obviously, they're very heavily involved with, you know, online safety and all that stuff. And, you know, I think it is important that we also respect our children's privacy when it comes to these things. And them being, you know, we don't want them to be too easily identifiable. But most importantly, for them to decide, you know, to what extent they want to be public figures, being that they are royal children, even if their parents aren't working members of the royal family. And I really get annoyed at the bullying of the derangers and the way they keep on with this narrative of, oh, where are the kids? The kids aren't even real. Oh, show us the kids. They don't need to show you the kids. They don't need to show you that them prove anything that these kids are real. They're not real. This is a long-running narrative that they've had for the longest time, that apparently the kids don't exist. Meghan never gave birth to the kids. An absolutely sad and deranged bunch of people. Like, who sits there and says, oh, somebody's kids don't exist, show us your children? Insane. Oh, you said she's probably standing on a stool. Yeah, do you know what? You're probably right. Electra, said the Daily Mail said Harry wants to be a celebrity over a reunion with his family and coming back. I'm like, did he say he was coming back? He said very clearly that he's not going to be serving the monarchy, did he not? What did he say to Anderson Cooper? When Anderson Cooper asked him a question, he was like, no. Do you ever see yourself going back in a working capacity? No. He said what he said, what he said, what he said. And it's not like the institution didn't have a chance to have Harry and Meghan as ambassadors. But they created a dangerous environment for them. They created a dangerous environment, you know, for their kids. So can anyone blame Harry for rather being a celebrity than having a reunion with his family? Because he's actually better off focusing on his work in LA and his life in LA, in California, sorry, than whatever it is he would have to face if he came back to the UK. And again, they're refusing to give him security. So have him come back for what? To put himself in danger? To put his family in danger? Absolutely not. Lady, you said Archie and Lily did more work than William and Kate do in a month. That is actually sadly true. I'm sorry. It is actually sadly true. Um, and also the thing about the Daily Mail saying Harry would rather be a celebrity. The Daily Mail is literally a celebrity tabloid. Do they not need celebrities to sell their papers? So even if Harry did want to be a celebrity, and Wendy, you said Harry and Meghan are teaching their children about service and community. Amen. They are learning about being grateful and humility, just like their grandmothers Diana and Doria taught them as children. Indeed, and they're going to grow up to be very level-headed, very grounded children. Whether they decide to have normal lives, celebrity lives, or even if they decide, yeah, maybe we want to find a way to still, serve great granny the Queen's monarchy. Whatever they decide, they're going to have a sense of grounding. And that's what's most important, that the other royal children, unfortunately, aren't going to have. And healthy love and healthy friendships and a healthy community where they're showing up and doing good. Okay. Kevin Slims, you said they want to attach everything Harry and Meghan do to that family. Indeed. We know that so well now at this point. Tell us something we do not know. All right. Next thing. By the way, make sure that you do go on the Archwell website and read the Archwell report. And I'll post it in the link, post it in the chat in a sec. Make sure you do go and support that. Also, as ever, is now at Soho House at Melrose. They have a little pop-up there too. Do you know what I would absolutely love? Soho House is in multiple countries. I think that Soho House would be a great place for them to have like an international rollout, like a tester. Meghan was a member there for many years. She knows one of the directors or I don't know if he's still a director, but somebody who was very high up in the Soho House. I think it's is it Marcus Anderson, very close friend of hers. So this is actually a perfect rollout. Little, well, I wouldn't say Soho House is little, but I would say, what word would I use? Carefully curated places that match the branding and aesthetic of As Ever. I think Soho House is perfect. I think it would be great to have a rollout in Soho House. Can you imagine if the first place that As Ever is sold in the UK is Soho House, where Harry and Meghan had their date? That would be so sweet and hilarious. I would cackle because that the Derangers would be running and the Daily Mail staff would be running straight there to get their jam. Jan Moore would be running straight there to get her jam. She went across a whole darn ocean. You just know one of these reporters is going to show up at the Soho House. I actually think they should have a list of names of Daily Mail reporters, Daily Express reporters. They shouldn't be allowed in. They shouldn't be allowed anywhere near these venues. They should be banned. That spread looks gorgeous. It looks like they've got all the holiday gifting sets as well. Got the champagne on ice. Beautiful display. Obviously, me being a fan, I want to see the $1 billion rollout tomorrow. I want to see it yesterday. But I think doing it like this, I think it's a nice way of rolling out the brand. I think it's a good way of really solidifying what this brand means, what its aesthetic is, what its placement is. A good strategy. because heck, whenever they decide to do that $1 billion rollout, it's going to be successful anyway. So why rush, right? Okay, let me read your comments and then we will move it along. Electro said Meghan is not putting her stuff in the UK at Soho House, not herself, maybe her staff. Oh yeah, her staff for sure. I don't think Meghan's not going to get on a plane to go all the way to Soho House in London. Of course not. Of course not. It'll be her staff. It'll be her staff. I also think another great place that as ever could be is a Liberty. It's a much smaller department store than say Selfridges or Harvey Nichols or Harrods, but I think the branding of Liberty it's a lot more suited to as ever, I think. But would it surprise me if we saw like an as ever pop up in Selfridges? No. If you've ever been down to the Selfridges food hall, as ever would be perfectly placed there. Places like the Selfridges food hall, they've got a mixture of like affordable luxury and high end and middle. So I think as ever would fit great there. The Anna, you said investigating how to use forward shipping for the first time in my life, so I can get my hands on some marmalade and flour sprinkles as my Christmas present to me. I'm gonna explore how to use forward shipping as well. I'm gonna see if I can get some back home to London. I probably won't get it because I can't imagine how expensive it would be to get anywhere I am at the moment. But if I can get some to my mom, that would be great for Christmas. If I can remember it, or if anybody in the chat knows, please tell us what shipping service that you've been using for forward shipping. I think there's one called Shippy. Yeah, I think it'll be a great place in the Soho House, right? You need to be a member for the Soho House, so reporters just can't walk in. So you know that Dan Wooten is a member of the Soho House. A lot of them are probably members of the Soho House. That's the thing. But I can guarantee you there's probably quite a few people who work at the Daily Mail, work at these tabloids, who are members of the Soho House, because it's a place where they network, it's a place where they work, it's a place where they gossip. Okay, next thing. Okay, let's get on to the mess. Now that we've had all the happy stuff, let's get on to the mess. Now, I saw this story come up, and to be honest, I was going to ignore it. I did ignore it. I'm about 3 or 4 days late because I wasn't even really going to touch this. Because I just thought it was silly, but Meghan's own people have responded to this. So there was this rumor that went around that Meghan had stolen a dress. Meghan, who got 100 million from Netflix or whatever it was that they got, stole a dress. So a spokesperson for the Sussexes is pushing back at a report that she took a designer dress from a 2022 photo shoot. Now they had to go all the way back to a 2022 photo shoot. The Duchess of Sussex appears in promotional material for the holiday season of her series with Love Meghan, wearing a green one-shoulder gown as she lights candles. She previously wore the same $1,700 dress for a 2022 Variety photo shoot, prompting reports that she had kept the gown without approval. Well, how would they know that she kept it without approval? Why is this even a story? If the people who loaned her the dress wanted it to be a story, surely they would make it a story. This literally got spun out of thin air. A spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex now tells people the insinuation that any items were taken without the full knowledge and agreement of the on-set stylist or their respective teams is not only categorically false, but also highly defamatory. any items kept were done so in total transparency and in accordance with contractual agreements. According to a source familiar with industry practices, it is standard for talent to retain select items from photo shoots, sometimes for security reasons, including to prevent potential resale or unauthorized auction. Clothing worn by members of the royal family and other public figures have been targeted for resale in the past, making the practice both common and precautionary. Exactly. So usually what happens, either the talent gets to keep the item, or if it's a very well-known celebrity, it gets archived, either by the magazine themselves or it gets sent to some kind of fashion archive. Or if the celebrity themselves has an archive, they take it to their archive, like Beyonce has a whole damn vault. Because people do try to take advantage. And they'll hang on to those items, usually actually, until the celebrity dies, when it's worth more. During her time as a working royal, Meghan, like all members of the royal family, was not permitted to accept clothing for free. In the months leading up to her 2018 wedding, she paid for her wardrobe herself and afterward received a clothing budget for official engagements that was covered by then Prince Charles, the standard arrangement for working royals at the time. I actually don't even understand why the royal women can't take clothes for free. Not that rich people need free clothes, but it benefits the designers. It's basically free global advertising for them. It benefits the designers, which, benefits their business. They can pay their staff and grow their business. So I'm not actually against them getting free clothes, but there's always been this weird protocol that they have about this. Okay. So while assistants like Natasha Archer, who is now gone, call in several options from designers after they have chosen an outfit, the others are returned and the one that is worn is paid for. Interesting. Okay. So during her appearance on an April episode of the Jamie Kern Lima show, Meghan discusses the impact her clothing choices have, sharing that she made an effort to wear smaller brands with messages that were close to her heart. She said it felt really great when specifically it can help uplift brands that have a great ethos and female founders. Exactly. She added, there was a long time when I wasn't out talking. So if you couldn't hear me, how could I be heard through what I was wearing if that's what people were focusing on? Exactly. If that's what people are going to focus on, well, then try and do something good with that. I mean, just ridiculous. They always have to find something. And this is what they could find. And this is the worst they could find. Meghan's solo dress. Truly ridiculous. Meghan stole a dress, but Andrew was running around with Jeffrey Epstein. My. Gorgeous dress, by the way. Gorgeous silk dress. The color is just wow. Kevon, you said Meghan needs to retain a major law firm for this. I'm sure they've got a law firm on retainer, out here 24/7. Because things like this, I think that they feel comfortable putting out things like this because maybe they feel, oh, it's not the biggest lie. It's a lie, but it's not the biggest lie, so we might not get sued. And I know that Harry and Meghan like to pick their battles carefully. You can't be fighting every single battle. But something like this, I would say a very strong letter from the lawyers is warranted. Just so they know that they can't freely put things like this out. But she said, I wish that Meghan's lawyer would put a stop to this. Well, I mean, Listen, you've got tabloids like the Daily Express that at one point were writing 30, 40 articles a day. You just can't fight every battle. You just can't. Annoying as it is. Well, it doesn't benefit case designers are going out of business. True that. True that. Black Lady said, I understand that Meghan can't go after any petty thing, but this is way too defamatory and they've completely crossed the line. Lawyers need to take action on this, make an example out of her. Yeah. And to say someone stole something, I mean, what do you mean? Fatimata, you said, I don't think Meghan was given wardrobe allowance. She was told to go back to acting. I think in even some of the furniture at her house was paid for privately. Yeah. I mean, she had a lot of her own wardrobe. That was a good thing. And she had a lot of designer friends. So I think for the big events, you could see that they gave her something because obviously she's going to show up and be standing amongst the other royals. But otherwise, outside of things like Commonwealth Day, that kind of thing, they clearly gave her nothing. The fact that she was so well dressed outside of those atypical royal events also shows that she was clearly just handling business herself. Celebrities get clothes for free for red carpet in exchange for PR for the label, a normal way of business in the entertainment industry. Yeah. The royals seem to think they're above that or something. I don't know. All right. Next thing. We'll see what Meghan's people do with that. But I think perhaps next time, if they're gonna clap back, they maybe need to do it a bit quicker. Because this story did drag on for a little bit and then almost became a non-story actually. And then all of a sudden they decided to put a statement out. So I think they need to decide in terms of their strategy. Are they going to clap back quickly or not clap back at all? But don't take 2-3 days to decide whether or not you're going to clap back. Just my 2 cents. I do think, though, that Meghan's new PR peeps are doing a much better job in general. Next thing, Diana. Now, it's going to be the 30th anniversary of Diana's sad passing. And oh, sorry, not of Diana's passing. Sorry, of the Panorama interview. Now, they have been trying for years, 3 whole decades, to try and rewrite history, to try and rubbish Diana's words. They're still trying. Powerful men are still trying to rewrite history and rewrite Diana's words. This is why Harry's done Spare. This is why Harry's, did the Oprah interview with Meghan. This is why Harry, even in the Me You Can't See, he brings up stuff. This is why straight after that court case, he did a sit down with the BBC so that his words do not get twisted. This is why he's fighting for security, even though I think even Harry himself knows, even if I get security from these people, I'm not safe and I can't trust them, because then there can never be anything twisted. And they can't turn around and say, like they've been saying with his mother for decades, oh, well, Diana didn't want security. She didn't want security. So, what were we going to do? And then she went to Paris and then we all saw what happened. But now, when you look at the way that they've behaved with Harry, now you start to question, well, did they actually offer her security? If they did offer her security, did she feel like she could trust them? And now they're still trying to control the narrative of this dead woman who can't speak for herself. But she said a hell of a lot when she was alive. The other thing about them continuously going after Martin Bashir and the whole Martin Bashir interview. Yes, we accept for the last freaking time that perhaps the way Martin Bashir well, not perhaps, to be honest, let me rephrase my words. The way Martin Bashir obtained this interview was shady. I think we all accept that at this point. But the fact of the matter is, Diana said what she said in that interview, and she didn't tell a lie. Also, she said what she said in 1992 when that Andrew Morton book was published. The Bashir interview was in 1995. Now, for years, both Diana and Andrew Morton claimed that she didn't have anything to do with that book. But in later years, after her death, Morton acknowledged Diana's role in writing the tell-all book. Considering how detailed some of the stuff in that book was, more detailed actually than what we even heard in the Bashir interview, she had to have been involved. And then we had the release of the recorded conversations on tape. Now, some people feel that Andrew Morton breached confidentiality by releasing those tapes. Interestingly enough, can anybody help me out here? I might have to actually look into this. I think that Harry has made comment about the Bashir interview in passing, but I don't think I've ever heard him say anything about the Andrew Morton, the tapes or the book. William called his mother paranoid over the whole Bashir interview. The establishment rolled him out to talk about that, but I don't think they've ever mentioned anything about the Andrew Morton book or the tapes. And the tapes are crystal clear. You can hear Diana's voice. Diana, in her own words, the documentary, I think it's on Netflix. So them continue, all of that to say, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent. All of that to say, them continuously trying to rewrite history and make it basically rubbish Diana's own words. It really just stinks. And here we are again with the whole People cover. I want to read two articles from Celeb Bitchy. You also have somebody coming out and saying, oh, well, if Diana hadn't done the interview, she'd still be alive. Oh, so now you're just coming out and telling us all what we all thought all this time. Why are you just suddenly coming out now and saying, oh, she hadn't done the interview, she'd still be alive? Excuse me? One moment, folks. I just think my browser's just freezing. Here we go. So I'm going to start with this article right here. Jeffson. Diana might not have died if she hadn't given the BBC interview. This year is the 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's infamous Panorama interview, the one where she spoke publicly about her husband's adultery, how she believed Charles was unfit for the job of king, did she tell a lie, and how she knew she would never be queen consort. When the interview aired in 1995, Diana's private secretary, Patrick Jeffson, resigned. He was upset that Diana cut him out of the discussions for the interview, and he repeatedly told Diana not to give any interviews. In years past, Jeffson was painted as someone more loyal to the crown than to Diana, and that he resigned because he couldn't deal with Diana specifically. But I think there's more nuance to it. Jeffson recently spoke to the Tea podcast. This is the Telegraph's in-house podcast. And he says in so many words that once Panorama came out, he felt like Diana sealed her own fate. Which is a huge effing deal to say out loud. That he believes Diana would still be alive if she had never talked on the camera. Oh, so if Diana had never spoken her truth against the establishment, she'd still be alive? What does that have to do with the establishment? Because presumably she would still, her being the mother of the future king and the spare just be given security and protection regardless. He also said some interesting stuff about how the left behind royals, I love that we're calling them that now, are giant dumbasses who have tanked the monarchy's popularity. He says this about the Panorama interview and the reason and why it's the reason that Diana died. Those closest to her, including Jefferson, now believe that she may not have died less than 2 years later in a tunnel in Paris if she hadn't given the interview that prompted her divorce from Charles and alienated her from those who had dedicated their careers to protecting her. Jefferson, she was going to be the next queen, but for Bashir, it's not impossible that she would still have been the next queen. There is therefore everything for her sons to regret in not being able to observe that at first hand how she handled the responsibilities and demands of her life as a princess and future consort. They never had the benefit of her guidance as they grew through their teenage years or into adulthood. I do hope that they understand that there was far more to her life than the rather simplistic image we have in the statue of the grounds of Kensington Palace. The great shame to me is that the family she married into failed to take her seriously and, as a result, denied the country a priceless asset. They let her slip through their fingers and we've all been poorer as a result. I mean, he's not lying there. The declining popularity of the Windsors. I think that when all the history books are written about this period, there will be criticism for those who have been responsible for the management of the royal brand, of the royal institution generally. There has been a succession of poor decisions, and there isn't space for any more. Well, I'm glad someone's saying it. Someone from the other side, so that we don't get called biased. There was a bottomless reservoir of goodwill towards the monarchy. British people expressed their patriotism through this family. That puts an extra burden on them to be worthy of that trust, and there's a lot of damage that has been done to that relationship. This is such a good point, because so much of the pillars that the royal family stand on is linked to our feeling as British people, our sense of British identity through this institution. The future of the monarchy now comes down essentially to the Prince and Princess of Wales. Oh, Lord. And we see how that's going. I mean, we can barely play volleyball without flopping all over the place. Hey, Cozy Life. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your compliment too. Appreciate you so, so much. Okay, let's go back to your comments. Benjamin, you said, I clearly remember Diana as ambivalent, pure truth. She didn't realize the deaths that the establishment would use. They used chaos around her as a cover-up, but I felt Fayed a bit too. Yeah. Yeah, I think she was failed by many people. Spidey, you said, those parasites have no access to Harry and Meghan. They rinse and repeat to get clicks, relevance, and sell their papers. Indeed. Oh, Jamwa is back on a plane back to California as we speak. She just landed back in London after visiting godmothers, and she's straight back on a plane to Soho House in Melrose. Okay, so the briefing campaign against Diana. In the early 90s, it was a very unpleasant period that the media came to refer as the Battle of the Waleses. When it became aware that some of her husband's camp were briefing against her, it was a political style campaign, he says, and extremely stressful for all of those on the receiving end. On the Panorama interview, Jefferson became aware that Diana was taking her PR into her own hands, but he had no idea she had recorded the interview with Bashir until it was in the can. She did feel that the establishment media was ranged against her, and this was something which the prince's advisors took full advantage of. I was aware that she was keen for her side of things to be known. My belief was that her best argument was to carry on doing her job and be photographed doing it. She just needed to get on working hard and being herself. She didn't need fancy spin doctoring, the what ifs. It's easy to get into lots of what ifs, but I think some of them are legitimate now. I do believe that by listening to Bashir, by believing the lies he told, not just about me, but about a number of people close to her, she lost confidence in the wider aspects of the royal machine. I mean, with or without Bashir, the entire establishment was shady and attacking her anyway. This is the thing that they don't seem to want to admit. It's not that we don't acknowledge Bashir's wrongdoing, but they want to escape all accountability and make this just about Bashir. When Bashir, shady as he was in how he got this interview, it was one of the avenues that we got some sentiment of truth. And so they can't just make this all about, oh, Bashir lied and this is how we got the interview. Well, would Diana have felt compelled at all, regardless of what Bashir told her? Would she have even considered doing a tell-all at all if it wasn't for how the institution was behaving? It's easy to make fun of things like protocol and proper organization, but they are there for a purpose. They have the simple intention of keeping them safe and able to do their job. The visit to Paris in 1997 was a private visit, but I'd been there many times with Diana. There were particular hazards involved, particularly the paparazzi, and we had to deal with them in the past. I have no doubt we would have dealt with them again, but by putting herself in the hands of people who were not competent to look after her, Diana hugely increased the risk of something bad happening, and indeed it did. Smearing a dead woman. When the forces that had been hostile to Diana redoubled their efforts after she died, Jefferson was determined to set the record straight. There were very systematic attempts to paint her as having been in some way mentally not up to the job. Well, if you had a whole institution coming down on you, raining hell on you, yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd be a bit mentally exhausted. Was that her fault? He cites Penny Jora's 1998 book Charles, Victim or Villain, which suggested that the princess had been mentally ill. All sorts of untrue and very hurtful things were being written about my late boss. I felt it was right for me to do something to redress the imbalance so that whatever was written about Diana in the rest of history, they would find my little tuppence worth in the pile there somewhere. Well, Diana has said herself that she suffered with mental health issues, depression, anorexia. It's not a shameful thing that Diana was suffering from mental health issues. What's shameful is how they're trying to position that as a way of smearing her as crazy, like they're not responsible for that. That's what's shady. So the article ends by saying she was going to be the next queen, but for Bashir, it's not impossible that she would still have been the next queen. Hard disagree. Diana wanted to give an interview and tell her side of the story. Period. Jefferson and many others act as if she was a confused little girl. Period. While Bashir manipulated her and fed her lies. Diana spoke her truth and she wanted to get everything out before she was placed under a gag order from the divorce. She waited to speak until her marriage was broken and she waited until she knew that she and Charles would divorce. Diana understood something fundamental. She had to get the story out, lest Charles's version of events became the sole narrative. Charles has spent the past 30 years trying to delegitimize Diana and her words. That's how important her interview was. Jefferson even acknowledged that Charles was waging a full-blown campaign against Diana as well. As for what Jefferson skirts around for this current generation of left behinds, it sounds like he doesn't think much of Charles's reign, and he doesn't think there will be much support for the monarchy left for William and Waity. Oh well indeed. And whose fault is that, might I add? Whose fault is that? Black Lily, is that not a thinly veiled threat? Honestly, it also feels like it. I mean, it wasn't too long ago I think it was in 2020, just after Harry and Meghan left. You had all of these rather strange articles. I think one of them was from Jeannie Bond. Oh, Harry is making a car crash decision. Harry is, crashing himself into a disaster. Those type of headlines. These people are not okay. They are not okay in any way. Oh, exactly, G Wiz. There's so much more that could be written about Camilla. Please tell us more about Camilla. Much more interesting things, actually. Yeah, Benjamin, I think we've all been knowing this. They would be popular due to Diana, but their egos couldn't make them see straight regarding Diana. And then we get to Meghan, and their egos still couldn't see straight, even after everything. The peasants were about to storm the palace gates after Diana died. Fights were breaking out between the peasantry and the press. They only just managed to contain the people. And then, years later, here comes Meghan. Here we have a chance to reboot, reset, and level up. And they still making the same mistake. Listen, this institution was never meant to be saved. This institution cannot be reformed. And they've proven it themselves. They have proven it themselves. They have proven Republicans right. Wendy, you said there are more people on the global stage that love Princess Diana than the UK leftovers. It tells us everything about their irrelevance. Indeed. Too tall for you. You said, hello, squaddies. I live less than a mile from Soho House. We'll stop by over the weekend. Go for it. The Anna, you said the forward of the first whitewashing biography published a year after Diana's death says it was vital to get the book out quickly before the mythology of Diana became too deeply rooted. Well, the people have decided, and they've, as far as they're concerned, Diana's the people's princess, period. Period. And there's nothing they can do about that. And so this 3-decade-long attempt to try and rewrite history, to try and get people to unsee what they very clearly saw with their own eyes, this institution is ridiculous. They just need to get over it. I think when the court of public opinion gives someone the crown of sainthood, especially if they've passed, there's not really a whole lot you can do to undo that, unless you really uncovered some dirty stuff, and there wasn't any dirty stuff on Diana. So it actually makes you, the person trying to make them look bad, it makes you look worse. Yeah, who wouldn't be confident in your own abilities if you're as popular as Diana? Who wouldn't be? Who tipped off the jackals that she was in Paris? Well, I mean, she'd been in Paris for a few days before the crash happened, right? So by that time, they would have found out where she was, and basically just be chasing her everywhere. I think they had pictured her on the boat, they had pictured her in town, so they knew she was there. By that point, they were very much hot on her tail. Both the paparazzi and the press and anybody else who wanted to do her harm. Yeah, after all, she did that for that family, but you see, that family, they don't see it. Even with Meghan. Charles's jam was selling out because of Meghan's jam. Christ's sake. It's okay to recognize that you're basic. Now, if you've got someone else standing next to you that can help level you up, take the help. Put your ego to bed and take the help. Anna, why such a push now to discredit the Bashir interview, especially when Diana said about dying in a crash? Oh, yeah, there was a famous handwritten note, right? Could they possibly be trying to get ahead of something they fear is going to prove her right? Possibly. Possibly. I mean, I still very much believe, right? All of the phone hacking that was going on, there's still that mysterious case of Piers Morgan apparently getting his hands on Diana's letters. And I'm so sure that there are people in the press that know of things. Remember, they were hacking the royals' phones. I don't believe that we know everything or we've heard everything about what they heard on those phone conversations. It was probably some very high level sensitive stuff. So I don't think you're wrong there, my friend. I think there's a lot that the people in the tabloids and even in government know. And perhaps, because these things have a way of coming out years later, perhaps very much so, they are scared of something that could come out. Now, mind you, also, recently you had the Epstein emails or papers or whatever came out. Now, not everyone who is mentioned in the Epstein emails was directly involved with Epstein or met him or was an associate of him. I believe that I personally believe that there was some kind of conspiracy between Epstein and whoever he was the front man for, to involve as many celebrities, blackmail as many celebrities, get as many of them in their circle as possible. And Diana's name does come up. And other celebrities, I think even the Queen comes up, other UK celebrities come up. So, and again, not to say that any of these people were directly involved with Epstein or were taking money from him or knew him or were friends with him. But perhaps there's something, because this is such a big web, other things that might come out. Maybe they were trying to get some of those celebrities that were mentioned within their web and they didn't get them within their web. Maybe they reached out to some dark forces to make things happen who are in that circle. Who knows? Who knows at this point? Anything is possible. But it does stink of something's coming. Or there's so much more that we've never found out and one day we might. And that terrifies them. Because that would be a massive dent. And there's big potholes already in the popularity and trustworthiness of the leftover royals. Mushu said, good morning to you too. She told her story or else would not have known a lot of things. Both Buckingham Palace and Clarence House was attacking Diana every day non-stop. Yeah. In the same way they attack Meghan non-stop. Horrific. Weaponizing the media in that way. Yeah, Harry's case is also coming up. Who knows what might come out, about that. Also, there are still calls. There are still people trying to push for a Leveson 2 inquiry. Heck, at this point, we're going to need Leveson Part 2 and 3. Because I don't even think half of what could have come out, during the first Leveson inquiry came out. What was it? 30 million emails? 30 million emails deleted. How? How does anyone delete that amount of evidence and there's no further questions asked? And a major corporation at that. Yep, what happens in the dark always comes to light. Oh no, you said Epstein ran a legitimate financial advice business. Clients of that business who had no idea about the trafficking are in his infamous contact book along with the abuser. Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of the point I was trying to make. It's important we don't assume that everybody who's named in those emails or in those files was doing anything like dodgy. Spider, you said Piers Morgan once said that the fact that Diana was wed to a man of a different religion meant it was the right time to get rid of her, allegedly. Wasn't that in the documentary she did with Lily Allen's dad? Because that rings a bell to me. I know that he did say something like that. I'm pretty sure I've got that clip somewhere. Okay. What did I also want to mention? Give me a sec, folks. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else really. Liz Jones, who usually comes for Harry and Meghan, has decided that she's fed up and has come for William and Kate this week. I don't know what William and Kate have done to get on her nerves this week, or maybe that's just the thing, they've done nothing. Let's have a quick look at this. Okay, I'm not going to read this because it's on Daily Mail Plus. It's an exclusive and I'm not paying for that unless I can get rid of the paywall. Let's have a look. One sec. If I can get rid of the paywall, we can read this. I mean, it goes back to what the Jeffson, whatever his name was saying. Clearly, even people within these circles are looking at William and Kate and going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why is your work ethic so terrible? And how is this going to look going forward for the monarchy? They're barely doing any overseas trips now. Not that we want them to, but they're not. I have noticed though, actually, the last few weeks they seem to have amped things up. But again, I think that's more in response to Meghan working and and Harry and Meghan both working, putting out things, and also the fact that they know that Meghan's show is coming. So they've been out and about. I think they're in North Wales this week. And I think that everybody who's saying, well, they tend to work only reactively or amp up their work only reactively to what Harry and Meghan do. I mean, I think they've been proven right, to be honest. I think they've been proven right. All right, let's end with your comments and then we will wrap things up. Yeah, they got rid of the competition thinking that they wouldn't have to do anything. Well, now Harry and Meghan aren't, they don't have to follow what the institution wants them to do. So they can do whatever they want. And they're doing a lot. Now the UK media are asking about William and Kate's work ethic. Seriously, too late. They are lazy. Well, actually, Wendy Lowman, that's not 100% true. They had started to ask about William and Kate's work ethic some time ago. That all went away when Meghan came in because the smear campaign had to switch to her. Now, the smear campaign is getting old. It's getting repetitive. We've been here 100 times. So now attention is turning to William and Kate's work ethic or lack thereof. All right. I will end with your words, Gwendolyn. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy your day. Enjoy it indeed. And I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.